never so strong again. Fears
Yo, yo, what's good, man? Happy Friday, happy Friday. How's everybody doing out there today? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome to another episode of the Jayson Estrera podcast, where we talk about basketball as accurate as possible. Now, it is another beautiful day out. It's a beautiful Friday because we won again. It's that simple. We won again. My New York Knicks are up 2-0 on the Boston Celtics. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. I could give a fuck about. Hey, I love everybody. I'm gonna go Stephen A. Smith's route yesterday. I love everybody. How crazy would it be if the Knickerbockers just lose? Yo, you're not about to rain on my parade, bro. This might be the greatest week as a Knicks fan ever. This might be the greatest 1 week I've ever had as a Knicks fan. The game winner against the Pistons into winning game 1 and game 2 against the Boston Celtics, the reigning defending world champions. We'll get into that in just a second. We're gonna get this is what we're gonna do, man. I'm gonna take my fucking victory lap later, right? I'm gonna take my victory lap later. So what we'll do is we will talk about the other two games first, right? So we'll start with the game that's fresh in everybody's mind, which is the Minnesota Timberwolves against the Golden State Warriors. And in this game, we saw the Minnesota Timberwolves pretty much cruise to a victory. Right, the final score was 117-93. They evened the series up at 1-1. Steph Curry is out, hamstring injury. Like we said, he's gonna have to sit down. Ain't no shots in the ass that could get him to play in that game, so he sat out. Jimmy Butler had 17. Didn't shoot the ball that well. Actually, he shot it. The percentage was pretty good. He just didn't shoot enough. 13 shot attempts. Buddy Hield had 15. Jonathan Kuminga had 18, and that was the most points out of any individual player out of the Golden State Warriors. And for the Minnesota Timberwolves, got 24 out of Julius Randle, 20 out of Anthony Edwards, 20 out of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and another 16 out of Jaden McDaniels. And I mean, really, what this game came down to was the duo in game one, which was Jimmy Butler and Buddy Hield, right, who combined for 24 and 20, just really underperformed in this game, right? Jimmy with 17, Buddy Hield with 15. If they would have got a plus 10 for each of them, that would have made this game 113, 117. They would have been right in this game. But those guys just they just didn't hit their shots. And honestly, especially in the first half, Jimmy Butler just didn't look aggressive. He looked the way he looked, in some games towards the end of the year, where he was in this super passive mode, just not being very, very aggressive. And I wanted to highlight this one moment. Do I have it at the right spot? Let me see. So in the third quarter, right, 5:15 left in the third quarter. Let's set the stage. 5:15 left in the third quarter. This was right after I think Jimmy had gotten 2 buckets. There was a fast break score. Buddy Hield got a 3. So they were making a run. 10-point game. They're obviously in transition right now. And Podziemski has the ball, right?
Can get it back to single digits as we approach the 5-minute mark.
He just gets in no man's land. Anthony Edwards does a good job of staying down for the most part and contesting when he needed to. And Podziemski throws the ball away. 58-68 turns into 58-76. And this is going to be a bit of a theme today. And we've talked about this before, right? Draymond Green talked about how Steph Curry went up to him and basically said, you know, there's a time and place for you to shoot that corner 3, Draymond Green. I want to get that shot in that moment. You know, the next time we have, let's create that opportunity. And I want that shot because I think that's really what's kind of happened in the NBA right now. 10-10, Jimmy Butler needs to get that ball in that situation. That's a situation where the Minnesota Timberwolves were back. It's not like you had numbers on the fast break in that situation if you're Podziemski. And you're going at Anthony Edwards, that's a very good defender in this league, who has a height advantage on you. So this was terrible on so many levels, and it completely ruined any momentum that they had. And instead, put the momentum, you know, flip the momentum back for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that was absolutely terrible. I did want to point out another thing because I think the Minnesota Timberwolves need more of this type of action on the weak side for Anthony Edwards to get him easier buckets. This looked so easy, and they have so many things that they could do from this actual spot. So let's take a look at this weak side play. Nickeil Alexander is trying to send him over the top, right? You see Naz Reid is looking to send him over the top. Nickeil Alexander flips it. There's the switch. Obviously getting Gary Payton Jr. off of him, who's a very solid defender in this league. And it's as easy a bucket as you're going to get if you're Anthony Edwards. And I love this play because you can obviously send him over the top, which is something that they do. But the Warriors do a great job of this, right? Where you could send Steph Curry on the backdoor cut, but there's going to be times where Steph Curry is going to invert and try to invert this pick and set the screen for the picker, right? So there's a lot that they could work off of this. And then the thing that made this so effective was from this side of the floor, Julius Randle was was scoring a lot on Trace Jackson Davis, that you couldn't leave any room. So this is going to be open on the backside for Anthony Edwards pretty much all game long. So that is what I think the Minnesota Timberwolves need to consistently take advantage of, is Anthony Edwards when he is off of the ball. I think a consistent theme that we're seeing also with these stars in the playoffs, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I've said this many, many times, y'all. But when your offensive player has an isolation in either wings or at that elbow, right? So for here, it would be, you know, if they have an isolation over here, or if they have, you know, a mid post up over here, we're seeing when there's a guy strong side, and we'll look at an example later, when there's someone strong side and you're trying to give them that basketball, it makes it very difficult. When you clear that corner, the offensive player is able to make a play, and it typically opens up, weak side corner threes. But that's something to really look for when they are isolating guys. I think these teams need to find a way to clear out that corner for the offensive player so that they have room to make a move and make a play. Because when it's crowded, we're seeing turnovers, we're seeing bad shots. It's not great shots that they're able to create off of those actions. But, this is really just a game where, and you can see, let's take a look at this, because this goes against what I said, but it's really just Naz Reid is obviously a shooter in the corner, and Draymond Green doesn't want to leave him. And Julius Randle does a great job of making a quick move. Obviously, there's 4.7 seconds left, so that factors into why he makes this play. But if you are going to attack this, you have to do it quick, right? You can't have one of those, you're jabbing, dribbling the ball, and then you make the move, because now you allow that corner defender to try to time you. But when you go quick, you could get around them.
To at least win a game.
And he just hits that gap really quickly. So, that's one way that you can attack that. But we're seeing, especially in the Denver series, we're seeing the ball get poked out of Jokic's hand from the weak side, or from his blind spot, right? He's trying to get the ball. The ball's getting poked out of his hand from that side a lot of the times. So, really look to... They really got to figure out a way to clear those sides for these offensive guys. And, we also mentioned it when it comes to Julius Randle. When it's not Draymond Green guarding him, he has a field day. He has an absolute field day on Trayce Jackson Davis. And, Trayce Jackson Davis he's given some very solid minutes to the Warriors this year, but he has a tough time staying in front of Julius Randle. So if they continue to have that matchup, it's an issue, because when you have Naz Reid and Draymond Green is sticking him, it now takes Draymond Green away from the play. Because instead of Draymond being able to play quarterback, being able to watch the defense, put guys in the right spots to blow up plays, he now has to pay attention and really focus in on Naz Reid, because Naz Reid can hit a three. Naz Reid can get to the rim off of the dribble. He's a very dangerous player. And so when Draymond is sticking him, it sort of takes Draymond Green away from the play. And, we're seeing the Minnesota Timberwolves really take advantage of that, right? And honestly, the other part in this too is the best lineup that the Warriors have without Steph Curry is Jimmy, Draymond, Buddy Hield, Podziemski, and probably Gary Payton Jr. But the issue with that lineup is, one, they're really small. Two, there's not a whole lot of shooting. And they're great on defense, right? That lineup, Jimmy, Dre, Gary Payton Jr., Podziemski, and Buddy Hield. It's a great defensive lineup. You have four guys, including Podziemski, that really get after it on defense, even with their height disadvantages. But when it comes to scoring the basketball, they just can't score enough. They just cannot generate enough offense. And if if Buddy Hield, I mean, not if Buddy Hield, if Jimmy Butler isn't going to look to get 35, 40 points, then yeah, they're going to have a really hard time. And that's what we're seeing right now. That's what we're seeing. Their defensive lineup isn't good enough to offset what they're lacking on offense with Steph Curry out. So really, really tough to watch right now, because the Warriors, you know, obviously they have championship aspirations. Draymond said they would win this year. And you know, in games 1 or 2, we're yet to see a good game out of Anthony Edwards. Right? So that's something that's scary if you are the Golden State Warriors, right? That Anthony Edwards, in terms of his offense at least, right, he's done a great job of rebounding the basketball in this series. They have done a great job of minimizing his assists, right? 2 assists in each of the first 2 games. So they've done a great job of minimizing his assists, but his offense is you know, you're expecting his offense to pick up. And if that happens without Steph Curry, can the Golden State Warriors weather that storm? So that's what we have to see moving forward. But let's move right along. Moving right along. I'm in a great mood. The Knicks won last game. Let's go, baby. Yeah, y'all gonna have to deal with my ass singing songs, because my boys is winning. All we do is win, 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 no matter what. Winning, winning, winning. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Let me see. Where's the videos at? Actually, I think we're gonna have a couple of clips to break down over here. Let me see. Where are we gonna start? Why do I have game 1 pulled up? I don't know why I have game 1 pulled up. But anyway, so what was this? Wednesday night, I think, right? Yeah, Wednesday night. So Wednesday night, the Oklahoma City Thunder blew out. I mean, absolutely blew out the Denver Nuggets 149-106. 149-106. And you know, there's a lot of things that we could point at when it comes to this game, right? Honestly, this is one of those games, if you're Denver, you have to break down some of this film, because some of it is really glaring, but at the same time, you almost throw this game away, right? This game, we talked about, they have to take care of the ball against a very defensive team. The referees allowed them to get really physical, and that's something we'll talk about in just a second as well too. But to me, the biggest difference in this game was 2 things, right? The points off turnovers. The Denver Nuggets had 14. The Oklahoma City Thunder had 34. Second chance points. The Denver Nuggets had 12, and the Oklahoma City Thunder had 20. So, right there, 28-point difference in points off of turnovers and in second chance points. So that literally, don't turn the ball over, right? Literally, don't turn the ball over and you have to beat them on rebounds. Like that's really what this came down to. And like we just mentioned, they're allowed to get extremely physical with Jokic. We saw this last year against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I've mentioned this before. Similar to Steph Curry, Karl Anthony Towns is dealing with the same thing in the Knicks series. These referees are allowing players to be as physical as possible with Jokic. I get that he flops sometimes and whatnot, but they are extremely physical with him. And there has to come a point where, as the coach, you have to get a technical, you have to take a fine, you have to do something to try to balance out this game to where they can't just try to push him out of every spot that he's in. And when he has really deep position, they are able to get as physical with him as possible. And because we see what happens when he's allowed a little bit of room. So that is the big thing in this series right now, or in this last game, I should say, because they have to really they have to change that. Now, where is this? Excuse me. Where is this? 301. I'm gonna bring out this play. Because let's take a look at it. Because what have I been saying, right? Clear out a side for Jokic so that the double is gonna have to come from the top or from all the way under. Right? So it really leaves the defense vulnerable because they really have to overextend. And when they do, you have to make them pay. Now, they get a great shot off of this. And Russell Westbrook, to his credit, right? To his credit, let's take a look at let's actually take a look at how he's been shooting in the playoffs this year from three. Let's take a look at it together. Excuse me. 37.5 percent from 3 points from the 3-point line for Russell Westbrook in this series, right? So he has been a threat, and he has made some really big ones as well too. But we need to be able to get different actions off of this one setup, and we'll see. Jokic, one dribble, two, he's got 11 three, 4 dribbles, right? They let Jokic get 4 dribbles, and now Russell Westbrook is wide open, and Jamal Murray is over here. And I get that Jamal Murray isn't a knockdown 3-point shooter. He's not Klay Thompson or Steph Curry. But I think it's important to be able to get him shots in this scenario, or if this is Michael Porter Jr. in this scenario. And it's also important to allow Westbrook to be dynamic and not just sit in a corner. What's up, Bruce? What's up, Big Brucey? What's up, Bruce? We just doing some breakdowns, man. We just doing some breakdowns. So on this play, right, everyone just kind of keeps standing around, and OKC, they're waiting for OKC to move instead of forcing something, right? And Russell Westbrook gets a great shot out of it, and he hits it. In comparison to something that the Warriors have done
38 points for Jimmy Butler.
A lot,
John Moran,
where we know they're going to play drop on Draymond. And instead of Draymond consistently conceding to that 3-point shot, he makes himself valuable and useful. And the Warriors do this all the time.
Butler with
he plays drop.
Green, Curry, 3.
Why can't we get the same action
11
over
points
here? Why can't Russell Westbrook come down here and back pick for Jamal Murray to get into the corner, or get to the short corner. Get to the short corner. Get a floater. Get a layup. Make sure Watson seals his man over here. He can get around and get a layup at the rim. They consistently concede this shot. They consistently settle for this shot. And like I said, Russell Westbrook has done a great job of hitting them at times, but to consistently settle for this, I think, leads to some of the inconsistent play that we see out of the Denver Nuggets. And you know, it keeps a player like Jamal Murray from getting engaged consistently, because they're not looking for him time and again. He has to get really, really tough shots instead of creating easy buckets for him, right? Instead of creating some really, really easy buckets for him. And, you know, like I said, I told y'all we're going to talk about role players knowing their role. It's something that's gotten lost in the NBA as of late. And we're going to show right here Michael Porter Jr., right? So this was game one. They're obviously down, right? This was a turnover.
Gordon looks for the open man. Brown returns. It's through the hands of Porter.
They called the backcourt because he grabbed it right here, and then instead of trying to stay in, he doesn't even make an effort to stay on their side of the court. He just walks back.
Of Porter, and he goes all the way.
I don't understand that part, right? And to make it worse, right? Just to make it worse, the next possession, he just chucks up a shot with 18 seconds left on the clock. It's an 11-point game with 5:50 left in the second quarter. We're trying to get this to under 10 points. You just turned the ball over. I don't remember if it was after this or before this where I think it was actually later in the second quarter, where Caruso just steals a rebound off of him. And before, role players understood that you can't just shoot every single time. That there was an order, especially after you just made a mistake. After you fucked up, you can't then take a bad shot. It's not like Jokic got double teamed, they swung the ball around, there's 6-7 seconds left on the shot clock, Michael Porter Jr. gets an open three. That wasn't the scenario. They brought the ball up, Aaron Gordon kicks it to him, and he shoots with 18 seconds left on the clock. The hierarchy in these organizations, in these teams, is kind of what's gotten lost. And you know, we'll talk about it with the Knicks in just a second. Your stars in the playoffs have to really dictate these games. That's really what it comes down to. And that leads me to Shai Gilgeous Alexander, who we are yet to see a moment out of Shai. You know, he got his 30. He got his 30 last game. I don't remember. Let me see how much he had in game one. He got his 30 in both games, but he's yet to have a moment. And I think if you are the Denver Nuggets, you have to be worried about that because they were able to blow you guys out, and he's yet to have a Shai kind of moment, even though he's played great. But I guess you guys have the ultimate counter when it comes to Jokic, and I keep bringing up last year because this seems very similar to that Minnesota Timberwolves series to me last year, where you have a bunch of scrappy, defensive, athletic wing players who are all over the place, right? These guys are literally all over the place, and we're seeing Jokic struggle a little bit, and I think they need to help him out. Let me try to find this. Where is this? Here you go. Here you go. In this situation, right? And obviously, it's a massive lead. And I'll give the Oklahoma City credit, the Thunder credit. They do a great job of really battling Jokic. They do a really great job of battling him. However, when you're making this entry pass, you have to make sure that this gets to Jokic, right? Because he's already in position. This is a touch pass to Brown. If Shai doesn't dig fast enough, Jokic can literally turn over his right shoulder and get a layup. But instead, they opt to throw it back to him going towards the free throw line. And when you're a smaller player in this scenario guarding Jokic, that helps you out a lot. That helps you out a ton if you're a smaller player, because what was a bad spot is now more even, because him putting a body on you takes away a lot of the things that you could do on defense, especially when you're smaller. And now the space allows the quicker, faster defender to try to get around and tip the ball from Jokic. So the little fix of you guys as the entry passers for the Denver Nuggets, you have to make sure, especially when Jokic is in position, to hit him at his hands. He can't get off of the guy's body to try to get the ball, and now take away all of the positioning that he worked hard to get. So a very small, very minor fix like that, I think, can help out a lot. There's also a lot of moments that I saw Jokic was in traffic, right? Jokic was in traffic, and then when they were trying to get the ball to him in the middle of the lane, we saw the Oklahoma City Thunder get into a zone defense where there was always someone in front of Jokic. It wasn't anything free. They were willing to live with having guys pass the ball around the 3-point line and shoot threes. So, like I said before, and I keep saying it again, I'm a broken record. You have to clear a side for these offensive players. You have to clear a side for them in order to get them good shots so that they can see where the help is coming from, and it just makes the game that much easier. Just that much easier. That much easier. But moving right along, I need some tea. How's everybody doing out there, man? How's everybody doing out there? How's everybody doing, man? How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's having a great Friday so far. I hope y'all enjoying some of the breakdowns. But we are, we're moving right along, man. We're moving right along because I know for a fact that this is exactly what y'all came here for. This is exactly what y'all came here for, and it's
take me to the garden and hit the music.
I'm gonna take the copyright strike. Fuck it. Yeah, baby. Yeah,
Start spreading the news.
Hey!
I'm leaving today.
Hey! Yeah!
I want
We up 2-0 on the Boston Celtics. Where your Tim's at? Where your Tim's at? We up 2-0 on the Boston Celtics. I know this is why y'all tuned in. I know this is why y'all tuned in. We got the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are up. We are up. We're up. We're up 2-0. We're up 2-0. And listen, man, we gotta relive this experience together, right? We gotta relive this experience together.
Ball.
Yeah, fuck out of here, Drew. Yeah,
For the
stop
lead.
fouling.
He was fouled as he
Stop fouling
fouled.
my captain.
Regular season.
Sing both of them because he's clutch. Sing both of them because he's clutch. Yes, sir, Ski. Yo, my dad. My dad. Did he text me? Yo, this was the best thing. Let me see what he said. He said, let's go. Missoula, whatever his name is, not calling a timeout is so cocky to me. Opted to not call a timeout. It's not like the game was tied. I think they did the same thing going into that three that Tatum hit in the regular season to send it into overtime, but they opted not to go for a timeout.
Plenty of time here.
It's Tatum. Robinson's on him. Tatum maneuvering.
Yeah, fuck out of here. Yeah, fuck out of here, Tatum. Yeah, and we gotta watch this because listen, man.
8.5 free throws.
This shit was insane.
Here comes Tatum. He takes it inside. Contorted the ball.
Yeah.
Is deflected and tipped on the shot. Bridges the other way on a race. Celtics back there on defense. Here comes Allen. Just hammered it right over the defense.
Yo, nah, that's criminal. You gotta give that to us. That's criminal. You know what I would have done? This is where you gotta, some sportsmanship, right? I think Tom Thibodeau should have challenged that. I think he should have challenged it just so everyone in the arena can watch Derek White get dunked on over and over and over again. That's what I wish they would have done. I think they should have challenged it just so everyone in the arena had to watch that over and over and over and over again. But my Knicks are up 2-0. I'm extremely happy. I'm extremely excited. But I'm also a realist. I told my dad. I've been telling everybody. I think this series is far from over. I think this series is far from over because both teams could have played better. Right? Everyone's talking about the Boston Celtics could have played better, but the New York Knicks, we could have played much better. Again, right? Karl Anthony Towns in foul trouble, which, by the way, I think Tom Thibodeau is going to have to try to eat a fine because these guys are allowed to be as physical as they want when it comes to Karl Anthony Towns. And you saw on a number of occasions Knicks players picking up fouls damn near just to prove a point. They're like, yo, you're not calling it on that side for Cat, but you're going to call it on this side? On numerous occasions, you saw it. So I love that one because it really shows the unity in this team, right? Guys are complaining for other people, right? This is something I've asked someone like a Luka Doncic to do. Whenever you complain at referees, complain for your teammates. Fuck yourself. Complain for your teammates. it gives a different perception to the things that you're doing. It looks like you're just, and it really is, not just looks like, but you're protecting your teammate. You're looking out for your teammates. So that goes a long way. So I saw that on a number of occasions. There is a number of times where we turned the ball over in the backcourt. A number of times where we turned the ball over in the backcourt, and that's unacceptable. So, you know, we can play a much better, much cleaner game, right? And the question for the Boston Celtics, because everybody wants to talk about the threes. Everyone wants to talk about the three-point shots and the three-point attempts. It looked like on that last possession for the Boston Celtics, it looked like Jayson Tatum was unsure. And I think it's because of the outside noise, because of some of the conversations that they've had. I would love to be a fly on the wall in their meetings. But if you're the Boston Celtics, can you unlearn years of programming? Can you figure out a way in a couple of days to unlearn all of the things that you guys have been programmed to do? Because this coaching staff encourages their players to shoot as many threes as possible. It's no accident why they play the way that they play. It's not like the players are going out there freestyling this shit. They play that way because that's what the coaching staff wants them to do. And to all of a sudden, in an intense playoff series, now that their shots aren't going down, because last year it was just Tatum. Now all of them are missing. Can they undo all of that to be more attacking to the basket? Can they attack the rim more? And I think the other thing with this team, and we mentioned it earlier, everyone wants to talk about team basketball. And the Boston Celtics have a great team. Don't get me wrong. They have a great team top to bottom. All that team basketball shit, that's for the first 43 minutes of the game. That's for the first 43 minutes of the game. The last 5, only the stars should be touching the basketball. If you're the Knicks, only one person is touching the basketball. Mikal Bridges was unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. In the fourth quarter, Mikal Bridges had how many? He had 14 points in the fourth quarter, 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. Unbelievable. Got the block, was hitting shots, hitting threes. Unbelievable in the fourth quarter, right? Who took the shot to put us up? Who took the shot after that to extend the lead? Jalen Brunson. There's a time and place for every player. And I think the Boston Celtics, who have, coming into this year, they're saying, Peyton Pritchard we might have a game where he's going to score 40. Derek White is really good. And this, that, and the third. They're not Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. None of those guys are Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. And so when it's down this stretch of basketball games, all that team basketball shit, you throw it out the window. Because there should really be just 1 or 2 guys that are consistently making decisions for you. And for the Knicks, we've seen how that's worked out for us. For the Indiana Pacers, there's 2 guys touching the basketball. Halliburton and Andrew Nembhard. There's 2 guys touching the basketball. For the Denver Nuggets, like we talked about, I think some of the problem with them is They've lost a little bit of their late game execution where every possession down for the last 5 minutes, it's Jokic and Jamal Murray. You shoot a shot if you are absolutely wide open with under 10 seconds left on the shot clock. But we are seeing guys on Boston, we see this all the time. Guys are just taking ill-advised shots on offensive rebounds and kickouts. They rarely reset. We rarely see the Boston Celtics get an offensive rebound, kick the ball out, and reset, or run another pick and roll. We see them consistently on that kick out. They're going to shoot a three. And, you know, you compare that to the New York Knicks where Jalen Brunson is going to squeeze that towel. He's going to get every ounce out of that towel. He's going to take every second off of the shot clock and get a great shot for him. And that has really been the difference for the New York Knicks. The other thing too, you know, everyone has spoken about our bench or lack of a bench. And, you know, we've seen on a number of occasions, Campaign had his moment in that comeback victory against the Detroit Pistons. Mitchell Robinson, even though he gave up that one runaway dunk on Jason Tatum, or two, I think, he's been a net positive for the New York Knicks for this entire series. So we are getting very good, effective, impactful minutes off the bench from a Deuce McBride, from a Mitchell Robinson so far. So I got to give those guys a lot of credit. Going into game 3, man, it's, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know how to call this. I don't know how to call this right now. Man, I was right about games 1 and 2, but right now I don't know how to call this. So with that being said, let's move on. Let's move right along and let's talk about the games that are coming up tonight, right? So let's talk about the games coming up tonight, because we have the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Indiana Pacers in game 3, right? Game 3 in Indiana. So that's something that we definitely, it's gonna be massive, because what timestamp did I have this on? 4:10. It's a massive game, and we got to talk about how mad would y'all be if you're Donovan Mitchell. Let's look up at the injury report. What's the injury report? What's the injury report for the Cleveland Cavaliers today? Huge injury update before game 3 versus the Pacers. Both they're all there at shoot around. But it don't say nothing. So how mad would y'all be? How mad would y'all be at your teammates if you're Donovan Mitchell? Because there was at some points in that game, it looked like he was looking around like Will Smith, like Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's like, dog, I am by myself. And so if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, this series looks pretty hopeless. Indiana's been really good at home. And if you are trying to win this game, are you going to expect another 40-piece out of Donovan Mitchell? Or, I mean, he looked dead tired the other day. Hands on knees, like he looked like he didn't want to play no more, but he had to. And I think that was one of those moments where you have to pick and choose when to get people involved, right? Let me take a look at the third quarter in that game, because I think in the third quarter of that game is when he could have tried to facilitate in that third quarter a little bit more, because they already had the lead, to try to conserve his energy, right? To try to conserve his energy. Still got his 15 points in that quarter, but he was really getting beat up in this game. He was hitting the floor. His 3-point shot has not been what it is, right, when he's on heaters. And so he's opted to really attack the rim, and by the end of that game, you could tell that it took a toll on him. So I think that was one of those where he could have tried to manage that a little bit better, where, my teammates, they can take a bulk of these shots in the third quarter because we have a lead, we have a bit of a cushion, and, I'm going to go and dominate in the fourth. He just had nothing left in the tank is what it looked like. And how much of a lift can these guys give if they can play, right? So that's really the question. I don't like their chances in this game. I actually think the Indiana Pacers, y'all think they go up 3-0? Y'all think they go up 3-0 before they drop a game? These guys have been on fire. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, they just play great team basketball. Everybody is getting involved. I think Cleveland's done, because I think this is what I think happened. I think Donovan Mitchell had that game and they lost. I think the hope was, Brooklyn Buddha, subscribe. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family, man. Welcome to the family. But I think Donovan Mitchell got checked out, because they should have won that game. They let it go. Tyrese hit an unbelievable shot. But that really kills a team, but especially a player that had a game that he had. And had they won, he probably would have looked at those three players, right? Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and DeAndre Hunter like, I got us. You gonna gear up. We gonna take this 2-1 lead and boom, boom, boom. But now he's like, y'all some fucking punks. I think that's what's happening. And these guys are gonna have a ton of pressure on them. They know they've been the number 1 seed all year, the Eastern Conference. They don't want to go down 3-0 in an Indiana arena that it gets crazy in there, especially with some of the victories that they had. I got the Indiana Pacers winning Game 3 tonight. I think they go up 3-0, which brings us to the Oklahoma City Denver Nuggets game. And to me, this comes to defense, because the Denver Nuggets throughout this year have not been a very good defensive team. When they do play good defense, Jokic damn near by himself is enough. He produces enough to be in games to win them. But during this sequence, and it's already a massive lead, but the Oklahoma City Thunder essentially run the same pick and roll in 2 straight possessions.
Work on their defense here and attempt to get some stops. Everything going OKC's way. Wallace pumps it in from the outside.
So they doubled Jalen Williams, J-Dub, in that scenario, right?
Getting into it with a fan.
It comes down again. Chet Holmgren is telling him
Sitting in
to
the
go
5th
set the
row.
pick.
And the fans, they
Surely they're going to switch it or do something different. They're going to communicate. Surely something's going to happen, or they double. MPJ steps up. Christian Butler's already here. Surely they do something other than what they just did.
They did.
And
not tonight. Wallace.
the same exact result. If the Denver Nuggets are going to win this game, they can't allow a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder to get easy buckets like this, because they score a lot on fast breaks, right? We talked about the fast break and the second chance points. The differential, right, was 28 points. They're going to play hard defense. They're going to get their steals. They're going to get out in the fast break, even if you try to minimize it, right? You can't then compound that by allowing them to run the same play in back-to-back possessions and be successful, and you don't do anything differently. There was no resistance in either of those two plays. I think that the Denver Nuggets have a great chance because I do think that Jokic is going to come out different in Denver. I don't think they're going to call the game the same. I think they're gonna give a couple of those calls in Denver's favor at home. So I like Denver in game 3 tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't think they shoot the same clip. I like Denver in a tight game. I think it's going to be tight. I don't think it's going to be a blowout at all. I think it's going to be a tight game, and if I'm Denver, you're looking at Michael Porter Jr. to have a big game because he's been very subpar. And if you're the Denver Nuggets, you need Michael Porter Jr. to shoot the ball well, because then it opens up the game for a Jamal Murray, for a Jokic, for a Russell Westbrook. It opens up driving lanes. So you need him to shoot well. So this brings us to Saturday. There's 2 games. Saturday, there's 2 games. The Boston Celtics against the New York Knicks, which, by the way, how the fuck is this the 3:30 Eastern game? This game should have been at night in the Garden. This should have been the 8:30 Eastern game, not the Warriors Minnesota game, because Steph not even playing. So this should have been Boston Knicks at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, but whatever. Boston is down 2-0 going into the Garden. I mean, how fractured do you guys think the Boston Celtics are? Do you think all of the rumblings of they're gonna have to break this team up, do you guys think that has factored at all into any of this? Knowing that at the end of the season, one of these guys isn't going to be here, that they won't be able to keep this team together because of all the contracts that they have. I wonder if that factors in the mental of these guys. Like we said, can they unlearn years of programming to stay outside and shoot a bunch of threes? Can they do that? Right? They did a better job in game 2, 63s in game 1 to 43s in game 2. That's better, but they're still not shooting the ball well. And I think that if you're the Knicks, you can't wait for them or expect them to keep shooting the ball poorly. I think at some point they're gonna turn the corner and shoot the ball better. And so if you're the Knicks, you have to expect that. We can't keep coming back from 20 points down. Game 5 in the Garden. I'm going to choose my New York Knicks only because I'm a Knicks fan. I do think this game is also going to be super tight. We have played like 7 games in a row that are within 3 points. So the Knicks have got to be exhausted. They've got to be exhausted. The couple days rest, I think, is really helping out the New York Knicks, especially Jalen Brunson. Oh, but he had a bad game 2. Didn't have a great game 3, except for the fourth quarter. So if Brunson has a big game, Cat hasn't had a big game, we're due. We're due to have a great Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns game. Oh, yeah, we going to get Boston the fuck up out of here, man. Yeah, we going to get Boston the fuck up out of here. Yeah. Knicks, 3-0 lead. 3-0 lead Saturday. 3-0 lead Saturday. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We about to take that. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck Boston. Fuck Tatum. Fuck David Ortiz. Fuck Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, fuck all of them. New York. New York, we're gonna take the 3-0 we're gonna take the 3-0 lead. We're gonna take the 3-0 lead. Minnesota, Golden State. Game 3. I think game 3 is going to be a duel between Anthony Edwards and Jimmy Butler. I think it's going to be a duel between Anthony Edwards and Jimmy Butler. And I think this is going to be a moment where the young buck takes out the old head. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves win game 3 in Golden State. I think it's going to be one of those games. Both of them are going to have 30. I think Anthony Edwards has been missing a whole bunch of layups. I don't think that continues. His three-point shot has not been great. I think they're going into San Francisco, and I think they are going to have a statement victory without Steph Curry there. Excuse me. I think Jimmy Butler is going to stand his ground, but it's going to be too much. I think at some point Julius Randle is going to get off, score like 3-4 buckets straight. That really makes it so apparent that Jimmy Butler is out there by himself. I think they're going to have this back and forth, and then, Julius Randle is going to get some shots. I expect the Minnesota Timberwolves to win a tight game in Golden State. So I got them taking the 2-1 lead, which leads us to the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Denver Nuggets in Denver. I said that the Nuggets win game 3. I think OKC wins game 4. I think OKC wins game 4. I think Chet, I don't know, I just got a weird feeling that game 4, for some reason, that Chet gonna have a big game that's gonna, it'll really open the game up for everybody else. I think he'll probably get some threes, hit some big threes, either hit some big threes in the third, which he's done before, or hit a couple early to get him started. I think it's gonna be one or the other. So I expect a good game for, I don't know why, I feel like Chet Holmgren is gonna have a very good game in game 4 to respond to Jokic having a massive game in game 3. So I got OKC. I think OKC I think they have a convincing win in game 4. I think game 3 is going to be close. I think game 4 is going to be pretty convincing for OKC. Now that leads me to Cleveland, Indiana. I don't think they sweep Cleveland. I don't think the Pacers sweep Cleveland. I think game 4 is going to be one of those games where Tyrese Halliburton shoots like 8 times. I think that's going to be one of those games. Halliburton shoots 8 times. Siakam shoots like 13, 14 times. And someone like a Mathurin or like a Nembhard ends up shooting a whole lot of times. And they end up losing the game to Cleveland. So I think I think that game on Sunday sends it back into Cleveland with Indiana up 3-1. And then my New York Knicks back on Monday. So that's going to do it for me for now, man. I appreciate y'all. As always, before I get out of here, please like, comment, and subscribe. All that good stuff. It really helps the channel out. We are trying to take this to the moon. If you got a chance, please like the stories, man. We're trying to pump out some content. I really appreciate y'all. Y'all could have been anywhere on the internet, but y'all were here with me. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. I will see y'all back on Monday. Y'all have a beautiful weekend, you beautiful people. Thank you, Elijah. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, everybody, for showing love. I'll see y'all back here on Monday, man. Y'all have a good one.